The women's long distance race in the World Cup final in Italy truly lived up to its name. It was very long indeed, just over 13 kilometres straight line distance with 570 metres of climb in the Dolomites. It was always going to be a tricky one for anyone to get close to the 80-minute winning time estimated by the organisers. But would any of these 10 women do it? These are the last starters, of course the best in the world, with Tove Alexandersson off last. She's not leading the World Cup standings at this point. That is Simona Abersold, the Swiss runner, who is doing just that. But any of those women on the last page in with a chance of making the top 10. One of them, Lena Strand, long distance silver medalist in 2019, 5th in the world rankings. She didn't do that well in walk selection races this year, so only ran the sprints, but she's got a good long distance form and started out pretty strong. So we haven't really seen her that much in the forest this year, especially at those World Championships, as I said. And it didn't seem like she was making too many mistakes out in there in the forest, but you can see already in the distance she was caught by teammate Carolyn Olson already in this point in the course, and then was also made it through to the finish line in 1 hour 45 minutes 24 seconds, putting her into 40th place overall. So maybe a bit disappointing for Lena Strand, having had some past top form in the long distance. We also had Mariana Anderson from Norway, a big name here. The 41-year-old has 4 long distance silvers at the World Championships. Very, very experienced. We didn't see her running at the World Championships in the Czech Republic though. But it was great to see her back on the Norwegian team competing here at the World Cup. And a steady start. It looks like she made a mistake to control number 11, the wrong hill. Maybe a parallel mistake there. Although she looks good going through this very undergrowth free at this point beach forest. And it also looks like she overshot number 22. Have a look at number 22 on the GPS tracking, because it looks like a lot of people had troubles on that one in the women's course after going through this section of the course where it's very open, very runnable, big contour features. Then this tough run through the fields, and that tricky control number 22 caught a lot of them out. But Mariana Anderson ended up finishing in 22nd place, 1 hour 39:45 after a few mistakes there. We'll move on then to the Russian Anastasia Rodneya. She's got 4 World Champs Forest relay medals, not had the same success as an individual. She was 24th in the middle distance race in Idre in the World Cup round in Sweden. And she is always a great relay runner as part of that Russian team, and made a pretty decent start. Looks like it was pretty clean from the GPS tracking for Rodneya. Again, a little mistake at control number 22, and that put her down into 26th place, 1 hour 39:54 for the Russian.
89 minutes and 10 seconds. The lead is 2:23 down to Sarina Kevorts and 3:14.
And we look now at a whole run of Swedes. We'll start here with Carolyn Olson, who her best long distance result comes with the 6th place in the World Championships in 2019. That was in Norway. She's had a tough 2020 with a lot of injuries. Maybe it was a good timing for her with the pandemic and the season being suspended. She, again, struggled in the selection races for the Swedish team for those World Championships and ran the sprint, but seems to be getting back to some form with a 12th place in the long distance race in Idrefjäll in Sweden on home soil. And she looks like she made a small miss on the butterfly slope, on the butterfly loop, where there was a slope on the control number 8. Looks like she made a miss there. Also had a little bit of a miss to control number 22, but as you can see, she'd caught up her teammate and close friend Lena Strand. So with Carolyn Olson through to the finish, her time of 1 hour 36 and 37 seconds put her into 13th place overall. So pretty solid stuff for Carolyn Olson, who everybody has been kind of punished for this long times, over 95 minutes at this point, and really they will be definitely glad of the rest day after that. And here's a very interesting face, Hanna Lundberg, who won the World Cup middle distance race in Sweden. She is still a junior. It was a big shock there. She was also 4th place in the long distance. Since then, she won the middle distance and the relay at the Junior World Championships in Turkey. And so she, again, still being a junior, she is a big character and face to watch out for in the future. Looks like she also had a small mistake to control number 22. A little bit scrappy, not quite as clean as we've seen maybe some of the others go around later on this course. But very strong. Collapsing across the line for Hanna Lundberg does put her into 8th place, 1 hour 34 and 4 seconds. So another top 10 result at a World Cup, just shows that she really has got some consistency, and she's able to perform on lots of different types of terrain. Very different here, this kind of open beach forest in the Dolomites. It's very different to both Sweden and Turkey, where she's been competing recently, but another top 10 solid performance there from Hanna Lundberg. And I'm sure she'll take a lot of confidence then into the middle distance. It's so tricky to step up as a junior to a senior as the course lengths increase, and she's managed to do that really strongly. Lisa Risby is the next one to talk about. Another Swede here. She really has had what maybe looks like a breakthrough year for her. She was the relay champion at the World Champs, 4th place in the long, 6th place in the middle. She was also part of the winning relay team in Idre in the last World Cup round as well, and really has got some kind of consistency this year, some fantastic performances as well that she should be really proud of. And it looks like she had some really good speed on the shorter legs in this course, less good on the longer ones, and struggled a bit in the ends after those fields. Slow last few. Again, she's one of those who didn't go the direct route to control number 22. She went out to the fence. I think she lost a little bit of time on that one, so that put her into 7th place, just under 1 hour 33. Sarah Hagstrom next to talk about. She's the 2 times relay champion from 2021 in the Czech Republic, winning both the forest and the sprint relay. Also got some good individual results. 8th place in the long, 5th place in the middle distance from those World Championships. Slightly less good in Sweden, but still pretty strong. And it looks like she struggled a bit on the long legs, control number 1 and control number 4, but looks pretty good through this section of forest, and had a very good speed in the end, and was able to finish very strongly, matching some of those a little bit higher up. So Sarah Hagstrom from Sweden finishing there in 5th place, 1 hour 29 minutes and 10 seconds, and giving it absolutely everything there on the line. So that put her into 5th. Next up, we'll talk about Andrea Benjaminsen, the Norwegian. She's got a silver medal from the World Champs in the middle and in the sprint relay, and she took a 2nd place and silver medal in the long distance race in Sweden in Idre. That really brutal race, quite similar in terms of climb, in terms of distance, although the orienteering skills required very different here, with such good visibility, I think, around most of the course. She was strong on the long leg to control number 4, slightly low into control number 1, and at this point looking very solid through the terrain, making it look really easy and just covering the 13 kilometers. But she lost time again on that tricky number 22 after an easy run through the fields, again going through to the fence instead of going straight, but it was a 4th place for Benjaminsen, 1 hour 28 and 10 seconds. So cementing a pretty consistent year, especially in those long distances as well, and she should be pleased with that. And now we move into the top three. We have Natalia Gemperle, the Russian here. She's a former middle distance world champion, took 2 silver medals at the World Champs in the Czech Republic this year in the sprint and the long, but we know she can make mistakes. We saw a big mistake in the long distance World Cup rounds in Sweden where she made just kind of went offline, made a really, really huge one. So uncharacteristic of her. Will she get back to being a bit more consistent and avoiding those mistakes? She's such an experienced orienteer in all sorts of different terrain, and she can just see the joy of orienteering on her face. So she's looking pretty solid here going through the forest, and in fact she was bouncing around second, third place for a lot of this course. It was in second until the last couple of controls. Had a really great long leg back down towards the arena, but then really, really straight all the way around. Just looked like she was taking very direct routes the whole way around, and rewarded with third place for her in the end. Lost out in the battle for second, 1 hour 27:10. And she will thank her compass a lot for taking her very, very direct around all this course. I think she will have enjoyed that a lot, and yeah, is rewarded with yet another medal to add to her World Cup tally. And it's still performing fantastically around all sorts of terrain, especially for her becoming a mum in December as well. And Simona Abersold, she took her first ever World Cup win in Sweden in the long distance, usurping Tove Alexandersson. Her worst place at a World Championships, her worst ever finish, is 4th place. She is so consistently at the top of her game ever since making the transition from being a fantastic multi-junior world champion through to the senior ranks, but she was finally in Sweden able to take a win, able to beat Tove Alexandersson. But it was always going to be tricky to do that here, with Tove maybe being a bit more recovered from COVID. But Simona Abersold looked like she had really strong speed all the way around. She had a little miss out of control number 20. Her long leg wasn't quite as good, quite as direct, but it looks like she had a really, really strong finish. You can just see how easily and calmly she's covering the ground there, just taking those little looks at the map. So we will have a look now at the queen of orienteering at the moment, Tove Alexandersson from Sweden. She won absolutely everything at the World Championships. She has now got 5 long distance titles in a row to her name, and she's looking for her 35th World Cup win. She's looking to reclaim her spot at the top of orienteering after having a less good and a poor, by her standards, because her standards are so high, World Cup round in Sweden when she was 3rd in the long distance and 5th in the middle distance. She had said she'd got COVID after the World Championships, and her body just wasn't really be able to prepare to be able to cope with the really tricky climb and navigation and technical terrain running in Sweden. But it looks like you can just see the pace she's able to go at this point, that she has actually caught up nearly 6 minutes on Simona Abersold here. She'd caught up Natalia Gemperle, and she just managed to make it. So Simona Abersold here from Switzerland taking 2nd place, 1 hour 26:41, but Tove Alexandersson was just quick all the way around, leading all the way from control number 1. Nobody even got close to her, and it seemed like she increased her speed as the race progressed. And big smiles for Tove Alexandersson. She was not happy to be performing at her standards at the World Cup in Sweden, so she is back to be where she is used to, on the top of the podium, with a fantastic performance. And ultimately her time, 1 hour 20 minutes and 59 seconds, pretty much just getting down to that estimated winning time for the organisers. Doesn't she make it look easy? You contrast these two, 1st and 2nd place. Simona Abersold collapsed on the floor, having given it everything, having just managed to keep ahead of Tove Alexandersson. She is rewarded with a great second place, and we can look through now at the final results. So Tove Alexandersson nearly 6 minutes quicker than the rest of the field, and some really big gaps here. I think you can show just how, you know, those top 4, 5 are a class apart on this race. So really fantastic results from them on a brutal and hilly and long distance. But Natalia Gemperle will take her flowers here for her 3rd place. Keeping that consistency. Simona Abersold was not able to beat Tove Alexandersson on this one, but she looked like she was running fantastically high speed throughout. But nobody really could match the speed of Tove Alexandersson. Nobody was able to get close to her. As I said, leading throughout the whole course. And Tove Alexandersson is back where we are used to seeing her, on the top of a podium, taking a win at the World Cup. And this puts her in the lead of the World Cup standings going into the last race. So the last race of the World Cup, this World Cup final, will be the middle distance race on Saturday, which will be live on orienteering.sport. We'll see if Tove is able to make it 2 out of 2.